But hi, everyone. You cannot see me. This is your host, Brittany. And yes, tonight we are here, season 3, episode 18. It is a wonderful night. We have Miss Swink Stylista herself. And we are so excited to hear about your journey, your personal story, and of course, your business growth. So we will get started. I don't know, my face is not showing. So if you would, for us, Miss Raven, go ahead and just introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your business.
So I am Raven Roberts, aka the Swank Stylista, and I have been like influencing blogging for oh gosh, how long now? Probably close to like almost 10 years, like on and off. I am a fashion stylist, a celebrity fashion stylist. I've also been doing that for a little over 10 years. And yeah, I'm originally from Los Angeles. I've lived in New York City and I currently reside in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
Oh, so we can
perfect.
go this part.
So not too far. Perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. And beautiful. Like when we saw you, yes, we needed you on here. Thank you for thank you so much for accepting because you are fly. I mean, everything that you post, we love. We share it all
Oh,
the time.
thank you so
So
much.
yeah, no, thank you. So we're so excited to learn a little bit about you. Let's just get started. I want to know, what inspired this 10 years in? How did you get started?
Well, I started because I was styling, and anyone that knows pretty much about styling, there's a gap. So, right after Thanksgiving, basically into the new year, it is dead. Like nothing is happening. The industry is like barely doing anything. So, I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't want to start like doing something random. So, I was like, well, let me start taking pictures of my outfits and posting them on a blog. Back then it was like, Instagram was it wasn't super new, but it was new for me.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just also post on there because just like everyone, you started Instagram just for your friends, not necessarily for like business and outfits
Right.
and stuff. So I was like, well, I'll start posting my fashion on there. So I started doing daily outfit posts. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why the
I
camera
froze.
does
Yeah.
this. Um, and just posting on there. I would go around LA. I was living in LA at the time and just take my little tripod and my little phone, take my little pictures all around my little neighborhood. I would like walk different places and take my pictures. And then I started, talking to other bloggers and stuff of like, how can I be consistent with this? Because when I first started, I was doing everything the day of. I would take my pictures,
Right.
edit them, post them all the same day, and I was like, "This is exhausting, guys. Like, how do you guys do this?" And so I met other bloggers, and they were like, "Girl, that's not how we do this. Let me show you how it's done." And I was able to like be more consistent with it, but styling was like my main focus. So with styling, everything is like last minute. So anytime I would plan, like, oh, I'm going to shoot this day, then styling work would come up. So I was like, okay, I can't be consistent. So it was very like up and down for a while. And then when I moved to New York, it was still up and down because styling was my main thing. And then when I moved here, I was able to focus more on my platform and really focus on influencing and inspiring women through fashion. So that's basically what I've been doing, like full force for probably the last like 2 to 3 years or so.
That's amazing. And with styling, I always wonder about that process, right? Because you have to get close to these people. They have to trust that not only do you look good, but your vision for them will look good. How does that actually work? How do you get like, I guess, discovered or like, picked?
It's all in, like when I first started, there's pretty much two ways to go. You can either assist people, which is
Right.
probably the easy, hard way to go. Like if you assist people, you could have an amazing person that you assist and they're great. It's also a lot of hard, like grunt work that you're doing, and you're not really doing anything to build your own
Right.
portfolio. So it's like you're helping them build their business while you're getting contacts and learning how to do the art of styling.
Yeah.
The route that I went was pretty much by myself. I started probably about a year in until I really started assisting someone, and I was still assisting them on and off. So I was on Craigslist. At the time, there was a website called Model Mayhem, and I was just like
Oh,
hitting
nice.
the pavement running. I got my break by talking to someone. Back then, I was working a full-time job. I had a jewelry line that I was trying to get off the ground, and met this girl who was doing a web series, and she was like, oh, I would love to have your jewelry in the web series. I'm like, okay, cool. Met with her, and she was like, I want you to style the series. And I'm like, yes, I
Yeah.
could totally do that. Had no idea what I was doing, and it kind of fell off from there. Once I got laid off from my job, I just started doing more and more styling jobs, and that's how I started.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I always wonder, how that process works because like you said, you're assisting, but I know you said even before that you had like people who showed you the way. So do you find that your community is a great community of collaboration? Are people, always there to help, or is it kind of cutthroat and,
it
yeah.
can be if you find the right people. Like when I started assisting, I had some good advice. Some people were just like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this. And then I had other people who were amazing. One of them, she helped me really with seeing how like the corporate side was run. So I did like Nordstrom catalogs with her, Nike, and I was like, oh, this is where I'm trying to be, honey.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is where the money
The
is.
big dog, yeah.
We inside, you know what I'm saying? It's air conditioned. Like this is nice. And then I saw, with Apuje, who I started assisting when he moved to LA, more of the celebrity side. I was doing celebrities here and there, but he had more consistent clients. So I was able to see that what a fitting was like, what it's like to do your first fitting with a potential client into doing album covers and all of those
Oh,
things.
wow.
And
Yeah.
so it was great to work with him while I was still doing my own thing. So he knew, like, when I first met him that I had already been doing my own thing. So he was like, okay, when I need you, I'll call you. But, like, it wasn't like I was assisting him every single day on every single
Right.
shoot.
Mhm.
So he had, like, a few assistants. So I would pop in there. And I think it's good when you do assist to know, like, you need to assist how you would want someone to
Mm.
assist you. I tell everybody that because that's how you get more and more work. Every person that I've assisted, they're like, you're amazing, because I treat the set like it's my set. I'm proactive. You don't have to tell me what to do. I'm not
Yeah.
standing around. Like, that's how you get people to want to call you back and to be like, okay, this is the person I need to call. Or if they can't make a job, they're going to call you because they're like, she already runs, like she knows what she's doing. I can't make it, or the rate is a little too low for me, but I can give it to my assistant. If you just standing around acting like you don't know what's going on,
Right.
you're not going to get them calls. Okay. They're going to go to somebody else, or they're going to be like, well, I don't know anybody, because this person still needs to learn. So yeah.
Showing up for the job you want, not the one that you have. Yes, yes. And with that, who's been your biggest influence in, the industry or just, fashion wise that has led you, further into your career?
A huge influence for me, of course, has been June Ambrose. Like, she's,
Yes. She
out here, honey,
amazing.
and just doing the darn thing. She's been a huge influence for me even before I wanted to start styling. Like, she's a force, okay? She
Yeah,
looks fabulous every single
always.
time she steps out. And so, watching her on TV when she had her TV show, she
Hmm.
was just always so fabulous, so on it. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. And so she was a huge influence. Apuje was great. Like, he really helped me when I was in LA with different contacts and things like that. Even when I was in New York, he was amazing, and I helped him when I was in New York, and his clients would come to New York. So it was a great working relationship, and he was just always fair, which I
Which I
love. Like,
love, yeah.
he's just like, I love Apuje to death, and I will always be grateful for him, because I've worked with other people and I've been like, yeah, never again. Like, because I feel like there's a level of respect that you have for the people that work for you.
Right.
Yes, I am assistant, but I'm also just not like a piece of trash on the
Yeah.
floor. You know what I'm saying? So like you have to work with people. Colin is amazing. I've had the pleasure to work with him. We were both assistants on a job, and he is literally the sweetest person ever on the planet. And every time I see him, I'm like, I am so glad that you got Cardi. You're out here winning at life. Like, I want everything in the world for him because he is literally one of the sweetest people in the world. Like, he's so sweet.
That's awesome that you have, some like actual polar people that you can pull from and still go to and work with for so long. Because yeah, I don't see that. It seems like a very friendly industry, so that's why I wonder, because everyone needs their piece. It's just like if you're an artist, and like you said, it is an art form. And just like you're working with those artists, like first you have to appease them, then if you're assisting, appease the person you're assisting, everyone else on set. So that's why I always wonder, like, yeah, how confident can you be in that environment? And speaking of confidence, what does confidence actually mean to you, and how do you exert that in those areas?
Confidence, it took me a while to get like the confidence and to figure out what that really meant. And for me, it's just being your authentic self and loving that person. Like there's so many things, so many weird quirks and things that I've like realized about myself and just been like, this is who I am. It is what it is, and it's not necessarily just like things that are this daily limit thing. Sorry. Like people are just like rude or something like that. Like, oh, that's just who I am. It's like literally just knowing that, like, for me, I live with anxiety. So knowing that's a part of me and that's something that I have to live with, but it doesn't make me like less than a person or a just like crazy person because I have to deal with anxiety. It's just something that makes me a little bit different. I'm going to handle things a little bit differently and working around those things versus before I knew it was anxiety, I was like, you're just so weird. Like, you're being so weird about things. Like, what is going on? And then I was like, oh, there's like a name for this weirdness. And like, it's okay. Like, okay, got it. So it's just loving yourself, being your authentic self, and just moving through the world that way, And sometimes people won't always accept it. And that's okay. Like, you have to kind of move on from it and just be like, you know what? Not everybody's going to love me. Not everybody's going to understand me. And that's okay. I can find my tribe. I can find my people. And I think that's how, especially us as influencers, we have to look at things because not everybody's going to be our audience, And so I have to realize like not everyone's going to love my content and that's okay. But the people who do are going to be here and they're going to love the things that I put out.
Exactly. Do you feel like you always had that? Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, B.
No worries. I'm not even certain if you can even see the comments, but we do have a question for you, Raven, and it states, when styling, do you have a signature piece that has to be part of your client?
No, because I think the misconception about styling is that like, oh, I can dress well so I can dress other people.
Yeah.
The job of a stylist is to basically be a chameleon. I have to fit their aesthetic and make it possible. So like every client is different. Every job is going to be different, whether it's a red carpet, a morning show performance, it could be an editorial, but I have to be able to adapt to every single situation that my client or the magazine needs me to be in or the job calls for. So there's not something that I'm like, oh, I have to have this in every single thing. It's just whatever the job calls for, that's what I'm going to do. Like I've dressed basketball players, pregnant women, models, plus size women, like regular women, actresses, you name it. I have dressed. So everything is always different, and for me, it's just as long as they feel amazing, I've done my job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your favorite collaboration or project so far?
Oh gosh. I think, and this is so crazy because this happened like when I first started styling. I worked on like a YouTube show and we did makeovers for women, and it is by far like my favorite thing because they were so happy, so excited that we did these makeovers, and all the women were in like different kind of situations. And we were like this little merry band of misfit crew, you know, the hairstylist, the stylist, and then we had like the host, and we're just like going through with the makeup artist and whatnot. And just to be able to like leave them with a little something, we were able to give them like a little kind of mini new wardrobe. And then also I was able to organize their closet, because as you can see, I'm very OCD when it comes to like
Yeah, I was
closet
like the colors,
organization.
but yeah.
So I was like, the first house, I was like, I cannot work like this. Like, the closet needs to be organized. So y'all need to give me time to do that, because I was like, my brain is all over the place. And it's just that little piece of OCD when I can't, like, I don't know how people function without an organized closet. Like, I see it and I'm like, how do you know what's in here? Like, my brain is like, what? So it was just great working with them, being able to leave them with a little style advice, a little elevated style, and just help them with whatever they were trying to achieve as far as for the makeover.
Beautiful. And since I know that that was your first experience, and you are all about empowering women and finding their, you know, fashion or just their confidence, really, like, you know, where do you see that going, you know, going forward with your empowerment and things like that? Because it seems like that's a great segue to really push forward and start something again. And the jewelry, if that's yours, we need to get back to that.
This is Zara. This is not mine. This is
Hey,
Zara.
I'm a Zara. That's why,
But it's definitely through fashion. I want to definitely be able to teach women more about fashion, how to dress. As a stylist, I just did not understand that people did not know how to dress. Like, I could not, like, in my mind, because I have loved fashion my entire life. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm confused. Like, you don't like shopping? Like, how could you not? Like, what do you mean you don't know how to put an outfit together? So a lot of the things that I take for granted, as like, for me, thinking that it's because I've worked in the industry, I'm like, oh, this is common sense. Like, nobody needs you to teach them how to do these things. And I'm realizing, like, no, these things need to be taught. So teaching women more of how to dress so they're more confident in what they're wearing, they look more put together when they go out the house. That's where I'm going, especially for 2025, is really teaching different styling essentials, different styling tips. I just, like, one of my biggest videos was about body types and things like that. And it was like, I was just like, okay, let me talk about this, because I think I had done a video earlier this year on YouTube, but I didn't really do like a comprehensive reel. So I was like, okay, let me do one of those and really talk about it, show the body types next to me. And I think one of the best like things was like, oh, I didn't realize, like, I didn't get it until I saw your visual. And I have some more content coming out around that, because a lot of people were still confused. So I was like, okay, well, I need to do a follow-up video, which I filmed today. And I was like, we're going to put that out. So teaching women the essentials to look better, whether it's through trends, their body type, how to wear a blazer or whatever the case may be, and really understanding that, like, you don't have to spend a lot to look amazing. And that's one of my biggest things. Like, I love a budget. Okay. I love a little discount. I love to find something. And whatever you want to spend your money on, spend your money on. But if you don't want to spend your money on something, then don't do that. Like, clothes for me, I will spend all the money in the world on clothes. Okay. Makeup, I want to spend $1. Like, I do not like to spend a whole lot of money on makeup, but clothes, I will spend all the money in the world. Like, give me, but it has to be on a budget too. Like, when I mean on a budget, like, I don't like to pay full price for a whole lot of stuff. I will pay it on sale. But at the same time, like, I got a pair of pants that are $400, okay, on sale. So, like, I will spend the money on the sale, okay? But I also have things that are, like, from the thrift store. So, like, you don't have to be like, I'm going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on things to look amazing. Like, you can put things together, you can tailor them, and you still look put together. You don't look raggedy, like, you look phenomenal. And finding different other outlets for a while was going to a place called Quick Lots. It is like here in Texas, but they have like liquidation things, like finding these places where
Oh,
you
nice.
live that you can get nice designer things for like 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, where it's not like you have to go and pay $600 for this piece.
I like that.
So yeah.
And so where do you sit then with fast fashion? Because I see you do a lot of videos of like signature pieces. So even like you said, one of your jeans they cost $400, but it's something that lasts, you know, so of course you're going to spend that, right? It's the quality of it. So yeah, where are you with fast fashion and how that is taking over?
I have fast fashion pieces too. I don't spend a lot. I've realized like I don't really buy a lot of fast
Yeah.
fashion anymore. Like as you were talking, I was like, when was the last time I like actually bought something from these places? And I really haven't.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because I go to places like liquidation places
Okay.
to get the quality things for the fast fashion price.
Yes. Okay.
So
I
like,
like
because again, like I said, I like a bargain. Okay. So
that.
I will go to like the dirt cheap. I will go to even like Neiman Marcus outlet. I will
Yeah.
go to all of these different places to find like the quality pieces, but for like way cheaper. Cause
Mhm.
like Quick Lots is here. It's like a liquidation center here in Texas. They would have a thing where you could just get a whole bag of clothes for like $50. I am folding things to this
Right.
tiny to put everything in this bag for $50. You know what I'm saying? Because like some of these things are like like literally one piece is $50. So like I'm gonna put as much stuff in this
Yeah.
IKEA bag to get for $50.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like what? I'm like
We need to do
stuffing
one of
stuff
those
on the
videos.
side.
We need you to do that video.
We need one of those.
Show us how to pack the bag. That's the important thing.
Look, they were like, "You got everything in this bag." I said, "Sure did, sure did." It fit. It ain't. Everything is folded. It's tucked. It's something. Okay.
No, that is amazing. And with that, what challenges have you faced while building your brand, and how did you overcome them?
Challenges. Finding out what my brand was.
Mm,
Like that was a big challenge because it was just like I just want to dress for people. Like what do you mean? And it was like thinking about the things that I really loved and that I cherished and that were true to me and weren't like foreign. You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
for me, you really won't see me like this is what you should buy from Saks. Like I'm just not that girl. So knowing and showing people like I'm in the Neiman Marcus outlet, I went to Quick Lots. This is what I got. This is how much it costs. Like those are the things that I love talking about because I love a deal, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, like I bought some like Coach boots. They were like suede, $100. I
Mm,
live off of these things.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So like sharing those kinds of things, I was like, this is what I thrive off of. And being able to teach women that you don't have to wear all the designer things because
Exactly.
there are a ton of influencers that's basically all they wear. Designer, designer, designer. And so I'm like, you don't have to like if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. If you want to spend your money on that, that's fine. But like there are people with bills. There are people
Hmm.
with like limited incomes or whatever. And like you don't have to spend that much to look amazing. And you can still find some really good things at a discount, like going to Target and things like that. Like I love Target,
No,
okay?
that's the
So
place.
like going there showing like this is what's new in and this is what
Hmm.
how it fits and like all of that stuff. Those are the things I love and finding that and like really grasping that I think was the hardest thing because I was like, oh, I got to be like this. It's got to be aesthetic and it's got to be all these things. I am not an aesthetic person. I have anxiety. Like there is no like I can't make things look really like moody and it's like something is always going to be off.
It's a lot,
Okay,
yeah.
so realizing like, girl, this is not you. Okay, you are
Yeah.
not this like perfectly coiffed person all the time, and that's okay. Like you will be fine. And so that was probably the biggest struggle because there is so much like aesthetics, especially here on Instagram, and
Yeah.
realizing like that's not a box that you need to fit in. Like, and it's okay.
I love that you touched on like the designer thing, right? So I think what I see a lot of times, we'll see people designer head to toe, but it's not really like fashionable or doesn't, not that it doesn't look good. Like, you know, I like a Gucci all the way down, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, how do you stay authentic and kind of stay away from that? Like I said, because you'll see that, like, it's something that matches all the way down. You know, that's what Cardi B's wearing. That's what this star is wearing because they have the bag for it. But also, but also, it's like, yeah, but that's not, you know, that's not really fashion either. So like, how do you stay authentic to, like, when you work with those people? Like, hey, we're gonna add that piece, but you can, you know, dress it with other things. Like, how do you, you know, move around that?
I think it's just what the occasion calls for
Hmm.
sometimes. Like if the occasion calls for like the Gucci down to the socks, then we do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of in the industry, you'll see a lot of things where it's like a brand will send you a look off the runway
Oh,
and
I
they
see.
expect the look to be styled like it was on the runway, whether it's in a magazine or whatever. And I'm just not that girl.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, I got to ask
Gotta
forgiveness
add
later
something.
because
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to copy and paste. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I'm here to style a look. So that's what we're going to do. And so I'm going to take the pieces that you gave me, but it's not going to look like the runway. You know what I'm saying? We're going to mix and match them, put them in with different things. And like, sometimes they're okay with it. Sometimes they're not. They're like, oh, we really wanted to look at the toe.
It's like, all right, that's why I'm here to
Okay.
dress to you just like that. Yeah.
You know, sorry to you, you know. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes they're like fine with it as long if it's one piece, two pieces, or whatever. Or just like changing it up a little bit to where it's not just like a copy and paste right off the runway. Maybe you style a little bit different, you add a little something, you make it look more relaxed or whatever the case may be. Just so it isn't just like this is the same thing right off the bat. So
Do you find it difficult keeping up with everything with that ever changing fashion? Seems like even now, because like you said with social media, you'll see so many aesthetics or, you know, so much changing in the fashion industry. Like, how do you stay on top of that?
So I think for me, especially when it comes to like my platform and stuff, one of the things I also had to realize is like I don't have a signature style.
Mhm.
I dress how I want to dress any given day. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I could look like a cowboy one day, the next day I could look like something else. You know, so I don't really have like one kind of vibe. I just gravitate towards the things that I like. And I think because I'm so into fashion, it's a wide range of things.
Yeah.
So I really try not to ascribe to too many like trends and things like that. I will inform people of trends, of what's trending, what's
Yeah.
going on. And I kind of stay abreast of it just so I know like, oh, this color is trending and da da da. But most trends are the same thing every single
Yeah.
year. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like this year, this season, it's like leopard. Like, are we serious?
And I
You know
will
what I'm saying? Like
be doing it.
you know, and I'm like, I always have leopard in my closet.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, guys, it's trending,
Yeah.
you know, or like over the summer, they're like, it's denim.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I need something else. So there are certain things that do trend that are different than like the norm, but there's a lot of trends that are just common sense. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's aubergine. Okay, it's fall, so like clearly it's going to be. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, when
Yeah.
have we not had this color like eggplant
Exactly.
in the
Every time.
stores?
Yeah.
So things like that, like you can still be on trend and know that these things are going to carry you from season to season. And I am a big advocate of like having things in your wardrobe for a long time. A lot of the things that I wear aren't new things.
Yeah.
So I can find things that are similar and things like that, but it's hard to constantly just be adding trends and trends and trends. And so every time I do a trend video, I tell people like, don't spend a lot of money on trends. Go to Zara, go to fast fashion, things like that, because we don't know what it's going to be next season.
Mhm.
We don't know what it's going to be the season after that. Like, and you spent $300 on some hot shorts for what?
And you're not even
You
gonna
know what
wear
I'm saying? Like you're going to
next
wear them
year. Yeah.
twice.
Not. Yeah.
So, and I tell people go in the store and try them out. See if you even like it. Like you don't have to ascribe to trends to be fashionable. Like it's okay.
That's what I always have a hard time myself with it, like with I guess the color palettes of seasons. So I was watching your videos a little bit and seeing like the difference though, because honestly, you know, for me it's just like, yeah, I like it still, I'm gonna put it on. It's just like, oh, you know, maybe don't wear that color now. And I'm like, I don't even know what colors like really go with me yet. So, you know what I mean? So it's really important that we have, you know, your pages and things like that. Like you really explain, you're really putting things together. You'll switch like one time you did like your blazers, but you switched like different looks. And I was like, okay, because yeah, I only wear that to work. So, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, for me, it helps. I'm an athlete, so you're gonna see me like this.
Yeah.
Like I have a migraine today, so yeah, this is how I look. So I appreciate that you really showcase those like, hey, when you wear this staple, this is how you bring it into this season instead. So I appreciate you because I got a couple things from you just the other day.
Well, I'm glad. That makes me happy. Because
Yeah.
I tell people, I'm like, I'm not, because people are like, oh, well, tell me what I need to wear to work. I said, that's not me.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a page that I can transfer
Yes,
you
and that's
to.
where, yeah.
I could be like, go over here, and these are the girls. They will tell you what to wear to work because I don't have a corporate job. So I don't know what you need to wear to work. I have
No,
no
you do
idea.
it well
Okay.
still. You do it well still. Don't worry about it. And speaking on advice, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to start a fashion focused brand or content platform?
I think a fashion, it's kind of twofold. So like if you want to start a fashion brand, like a clothing brand, a jewelry brand or something like that, um, really be in tune to what's going on from season to season. Understand how the
Not me.
industry works and how the industry is always a season ahead.
Okay.
So really making sure that you're that season ahead. Like Sheree said, you know, spring, summer, fall, winter, like it's always like the September shows are going to show you what's happening in spring, summer. So making sure that you're a season ahead, getting in with buyers, getting in with showrooms and things like that. Attending Fashion Week is huge so that you can really see what's going on in the industry, what's happening, and have like your, what is it, like your finger on the pulse
Yeah.
or whatever they call it. As far as a platform, start. Just start. Whatever. I love the advice that Jackie Ina gave. And we know how big Jackie Ina
Yeah.
is. She was just like, there's 1,001 people doing this, but there's not a you doing this. So like somebody is looking for your point of view, somebody's looking for your voice. So just start. You know, I film most of my content on my phone. And so it's not like you need any kind of fancy equipment. You don't need any kind of crazy things. You do need some lights.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's basically, I tell people all the time, get a tripod, invest in some lights, especially if you want to do fashion content, and you're good to go. You can film on your phone. My phone films 4K. Okay. I film my YouTube videos on here, my reels, everything. So you can get good quality content from your phone without feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is filmed on a microwave or something crazy,
Right.
you know, and still be up to date. Whereas like before, we couldn't really do that because they had the DSLR cameras and all that stuff, and then our phones was filming like crap. So now you can actually be up to par with the DSLR cameras and things like that and not have to like invest in a huge camera until you're ready.
Okay. So yeah, just getting started. Yeah. And that, I guess for a lot of people who already have the issue with social media and things like that, you know, that is a difficult thing. How do you feel like you were able to really push that envelope and become, you know, content creator and an influencer? Like when did that become like the difference?
Practice. It is the most awkward
Yeah.
thing. Okay. You are in your room talking to a phone. Okay. And I, on top of my anxiety, also have social anxiety. So when I really started my like being more about my YouTube channel, I lived in New York and I had a roommate, and I was like, oh my gosh, he is going to hear me in this room talking to myself. This is so
Yeah, yeah.
awkward. And I kind of got over it because like when I moved here, my mom, she's getting older, so we live together. And in my mind, I was like, oh, she can't really hear, so it's fine. Like she can't really hear me talking to myself because like her
Yeah.
hearing is kind of bad. So I was like, I kind of got over it at that point because I'm like, I didn't have to think about somebody hearing me talking to myself. But the more you do it, the more practice you have, the more comfortable you'll be. Like earlier videos, I'm like, hi guys, da 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 da. And I'm like, so y'all, let's get into this,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. Like you just get more comfortable with it and you don't feel as awkward. And really just figuring out which platform you perform well on. If you're really good with long form video, going on YouTube. If you're more like shorts and reels, going, or if you're just like really candid, going on TikTok, if it's still gonna be around. You know, figuring out which platform works for you and working with that versus trying to be on everything
Yeah.
and then something doesn't really work, or trying to do long form videos when you don't really like to talk to the camera that long, or you don't know what to say, or you're just like, okay, this is awkward. I really don't want to sit here and try to tell somebody how to do something. So figuring that out, I think, is the biggest thing. And just do it. Just hit record, start. We've all started awkwardly. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I got from the blogger group was they were like, find your favorite blogger, vlogger, whatever, go to their first post.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
See what they was
Good
posting.
piece of advice. Yeah.
And when I tell you, that will get you together real quick. You're
Right.
like, oh, I'm not even over
I
here.
didn't think about that. Yeah.
Like,
No,
I'm
I love
good,
that.
you know, and you will see how they started, because a lot of people still have their first post on their blog, their first post on YouTube or whatever. So you can kind of see, okay, this is where this person started. I'm not far off, or I'm in good company of like starting at this place, versus thinking that like who they are today is who you also need to be today. Like it can't happen that way. Like they've had years
that's
of
really
experience.
great. Yeah. No, I think about that all the time, and I think, you know, because we're on social media and we're seeing, you know, your favorites, you do compare yourself to that. You know, you're like, dang it, it doesn't look this good, or I don't have that quality, like you said, even with your camera. Like, yeah, even if it's not the greatest camera right now, you do have to start though, so that when you get that camera, or you know, that can help you get that camera. So no, that really spoke to me too, like to go to their first post, because I'm not, even when we do this every week, I'll say this every time, I still have an issue with my personal self, like doing any type of social media things. It's just a thing. I'm like, I don't know if I should, you know, speak more of myself, or, you know, put myself out there. I guess it's a confidence thing. So I'm definitely just going to practice a bunch.
Just practice.
But yeah, it's a difficult thing. So I love that, you know, that was a great piece of advice for me. Thank you for that, for sure.
You're welcome. And then just figure out what you like to talk about. Because like if you, that's the thing, like if you don't like to talk about something and you feel like you should talk about it, you're going to get bored talking about it, and you're not going to want to talk about it. Like on YouTube, I did like one press on nail video. It went crazy, and the girlies, that's all they want. Okay. And I had like burnt out at one point. I was like, I do not want to do
kind
this.
of like these, yeah.
Okay. I don't want to do this no more. And so I had to find a different way to approach it so that I could get back in the groove of like liking it again. Cause I was like, I am bored. Okay. And I don't even have to watch this. Like, I'm just like, don't want to do this. And it's just one of those things, because once you're known for something, they're going to expect it. And so find the thing that you can talk about to the end of the earth, and you'll always have content ideas. You'll always have things to talk about, and you won't get bored talking about it. Or when people request it, you won't be like, I guess I'll make this video for y'all. You know, like you'll be excited to actually do the content, or to do a live, or to do, you know, anything about that specific subject.
Yes, for sure. Now, these next questions are going to have you thinking a bit, so I will just preface that. But what was the most rewarding part of helping women feel empowered through their wardrobe choices or confidence?
I think when people tell me like, you inspired me to like get this dress from Amazon, or I didn't know that I could get this dress from like Target, or I didn't know that I could get this thing, like people not realizing that, like, again, you don't have to spend a ton of money to find like quality items. That's my biggest thing, is when people tell me those kinds of things, or like, you inspired me to try this new thing, or to try this out, or I'm going to get this thing because you recommended it. That's what makes me excited, because I'm like, okay, I'm actually adding value to someone, versus just like, oh, her outfits are cute.
Yeah.
Moving on.
No, I love
You know,
that.
so people learning things, actually getting like takeaways from my content, that's what excites me.
For sure. And if you had to describe your own personal style in 3 words, what would those words be?
Child, all over the place. like I said, I could be sporty chic one day. I could I wore a sweatsuit out the house. Like I'm very much when I'm running errands, I'm in leggings, sweatsuits, and things like that. I can dress up. I can, like I said, I go to the rodeo, so I'm gonna look like a rodeo queen one day. Like it's just whatever my mood is for the day. That's what I'm gonna get. And if I find something that I love and I have a vision for it, then that's what I'm gonna buy. Whether it's like cottage core, if it's punk rock or whatever, like I'm just gonna buy it because I like it, not because it fits like a certain aesthetic that I'm trying to constantly have. So
yeah, guys, sometimes you just gotta go with everything. No, but I love that because that's how you put other pieces together, right? Because maybe something you bought was cottagecore or something was more punk rock, but you're like, oh wait, these two things actually go together, and I would have never done that if I just stuck with, you know, that type of style. So no, I love that. And we like to ask this question a little bit before the end of time. B, if you would like to ask it. Our final. No, you're good. You're good.
I still don't know how to ask the question correctly, but if you can write a memoir up to your life at this point, what would be the title of it?
Oh gosh, the title. Oh, I'm like horrible at these kinds of things as far as like titles and things. I don't even know. I'll be like, I guess it's been a roller coaster. Okay. It has been a roller coaster.
I love that. And why would you name it that?
I think because people often think that, especially entrepreneurship or people's lives are very linear, and they're not. Like, there's been some very high highs, there's been some very low lows, you know, and being able to kind of just like go with it, go with the ebbs and flows. Um, it's just figuring things out. Like when I moved to LA, I thought like, oh, I'm gonna like get a job in fashion and like all these things.
Right.
And I worked at an electric car company, you know, which is completely opposite of what I was trying to do. And ended up getting laid off, you know, at like 20 something years old. Who thought that was gonna happen? You know? So, and realizing at that point I needed to make a choice of what I was going to do with my life and figure it out from that point forward. And just knowing that no matter what, things are going to work out. You know, I'm really big in my faith. So leaning on God in the times where I was just like, child, what is we going to do? Okay. Yeah. And realizing that he's held me throughout, even in the lowest of low times to the highest of highs, and that everything, like they say, worked out for the good of the Lord, but also for the good of your story. Like there's so many things that happened while I was in LA that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is going on. And then I realized I was like, if I still had these possessions or if I still had these things, I wouldn't be able to move into the next chapter that I need to move into. So everything works together, and it's in hindsight half the time of like what's actually happening, but just realizing all of the little steps. Like right before I got laid off, I had gotten another job and I turned it down. And I was like, you know, thinking about that, like, if I had taken that job, I never would have started styling because I still would have been at that job. So just knowing that all of the pieces work for your story and not like, as like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And the crazy part was when I got laid off, I was ecstatic. I don't even know why. Like, right, you have no job, okay? But I was like, it was the most ridiculous thing. But I was like, do I get food stamps? Okay, like I am ready to.
Can I get a little?
Yeah, come back here. Yeah. Okay, like that's all I need to worry about. Am I getting unemployment and food stamps? Okay, I do not want to see y'all people no more. And I love my job. I love the people that I worked with. I don't know. It was the grace of God that my mind was over here, okay, and not like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Yeah. But I was in that office like he was like, I gotta let you go. I was like, okay, when can I leave? That's fine. And I loved my boss. Like he was in tears, okay, telling me that.
But you already knew, yeah. You already
but
knew,
I was like, I'll see you sometime. Like you want to do dinner or something? Like it's fine. I understand. Like it's cool. And I think that there was a lot of grace and covering in
Yeah.
that, even though I was, you know, clearly out of my mind. But I didn't go into a depression. I wasn't like super upset about it. I was like, okay, so I got to plan this New Year's Eve party. Okay, like I got to get out of here. Y'all want this phone back? What do I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to do?
What do I need to
What do
do
I need to
today?
sign so I can get out of here? So
That's beautiful.
it was great, you know, and I didn't have like a ton of styling jobs lined up, but the night that it was like that weekend or something like that that I got laid off, someone else asked me to style something. So I was like,
Wow.
okay, cool. And even at that point, I wasn't thinking that styling was going to be my career, but like I said, all of the pieces line up. So once you look at it in hindsight, you're like, okay, these were all the little crumbs that God put out for me to get to the point that I'm at now. And when you realize that nothing is horrible, nothing is like tragic in your story, because they all led you to who you are today. So
Amen.
that's why I'm like, it's an up and a down,
Amen.
but the downs helped with the ups. So
Yep. So don't get too stuck or too lost in why you lose something, because a lot of times there's something behind God's back that's a lot bigger and a lot better. So yeah, you walked
yep.
into your purpose, not even knowing that that was around the corner. I love that. All right. And B, if you want to make sure that everyone knows how to reach her, we're reaching our last few moments, and I want to make sure that we promote those links in her bio. So if you guys need
I
additional
thought I
assistance,
saw a
styling
question.
needs. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can't see them. It's my
was
thing.
it was a
Oh, go
question, but I'm not
ahead.
certain if that individual is still in here.
Oh,
But
okay.
he was
Okay,
just
go ahead and ask.
asking what would be the outlets to visit to do styling or something to that effect. But I ended up
I think it was like my favorite online outlets. I love Coach. Coach has some great outlets. I'm a big proponent though of whatever your favorite brand is, sign up for all the things, the emails, the
Yeah.
texts, everything, because they will let you know we're having 30% off, 40% off, whatever. If you're really into suiting and things like that, Banana Republic has an amazing outlet. They also have some amazing coats. I love their coats. Banana Republic puts out like a really good coat every single year. And yeah, pretty much all your favorite like bigger retailers have some kind of outlet store. There's also Premium Outlets has a website. So you can go on there and look, and they have a bunch of different brands on there, from Adidas to you name it, it's on there. So, and they're a good kind of like one-stop shop.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that.
And B, if you want to place where she can be reached,
I did.
and
You just can't see the
perfect.
comments.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's me. It's me. Yeah, I swear.
It's there. You can't see it.
Perfect. And we will do our outros so that we can finish this up here, if you don't mind, B.
No worries. Oh, Rashad had actually left a comment. He said, "Oh, she's given the fashion name." He said, "Amazon outlet has fire high-end stores for outlets too."
They do. When I was in California, we would be there. So they definitely do.
In LA, I just went to the garment district. That was my spot.
The garment district is good too. It's premiumoutlets.com. So like Premium Outlets is like an outlet. They do a lot of different outlet malls, but they actually have a website. So it's premiumoutlets.com. Gilt is great as well for a lot of designer pieces, and sign up for their text messages, because child, they be texting me every single day, honey. Okay. And they give you a lot of different, like, we're having 50% off. We're having things that are $25. So constant things on there.
Hopefully you all caught that. I did put Premium Outlets in the comments. But we are going to wrap up. We just want to thank you, Miss Raven Roberts, for all the gems that you dropped. Definitely letting us know more about your insight about how you started your journey and where you currently are. And did you have anything to add, Brittany, before we close out?
I did not. Just thank you so very much. It is an absolute pleasure. You are beautiful online and in person. Yeah. I am so happy that you were able to join us tonight. I really thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been an amazing conversation. I love talking about fashion. Okay. So, And I'm just so excited that you guys followed me and found me and invited me to this conversation. And I'll be looking out for your future episodes.
Yes,
Thank you
thank you
guys.
so much. We appreciate it.
So much. Thank you everybody for joining the live. This was Sister Soul Sessions Live, Season 3, Episode 18 with Raven Roberts. Everyone that joined, thank you so much for joining. And please follow her page and support her. And that will be all. Everyone have a blessed night.
Have a great night. Thank